just because you would put so many dishes out that have always been magnificent. And you may not always feel that way, but
hence the rinsing of the salty onions.
Yeah,
Support right now. Do you think that was too much salt?
I don't know. It looked like a lot, but look, nobody's gonna know if it's too salty.
I am. We're gonna eat it. Listen, I just emotionally cannot handle this today, so just work with me, guys. Work with me. I'm doing my best. Oh, this is frustrating. Thank you for joining us again and welcome back. I am Brooke and I am joined here with my brother Trae. He is my partner in business and my partner in life.
Yes, very much.
Trae, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I could go on a long tangent about how Trae is like my favorite human in the whole world, but we will save that for later in the episode. Trae and I work together at CMG. We run a mortgage team together, and I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what we're making today.
All right, so today is like just like a typical quick breakfast.
Okay.
Kind of after a workout, just get something in quick before we go to work. So we're gonna do collard greens, eggs, bacon, and some sauerkraut. I think we already have the collard greens going, so we'll kind of just talk through that, I guess.
Yeah. So to prep the collard greens, we removed the stems, cut them into bite-sized pieces, sauteed some onion and some garlic, and then the greens, and added some salt, arguably too much salt, and some red pepper flakes.
Do you have broth to yours? Or do you do water? Or do you just...
Broth. Yeah, I do broth. I usually start with bacon in the collard greens and then like saute them in the grease.
Oh yeah, nice.
But
soak up some of that flavor.
Yeah. But today I just used a little avocado oil.
Nice.
So, all right, let's start by putting the bacon in the oven. Tell me how did breakfast become your thing?
I think that I would work out in the mornings and I'd always just grab tacos.
Okay.
When I moved to Austin, and it became just kind of an unnecessary expense, and I was wanting to cook more at home. And so it just naturally evolved into putting together random things that were quick and easy. So it usually started with eggs and vegetables, and then it kind of progressed into adding bacon, more meat, more protein, gotta get those gains. And slowly but surely just has evolved into more food that doesn't make me feel heavy and tired, like right off the bat to start the day. So in this case, collard greens, sauerkraut, eggs, and kind of leaving out the potatoes.
Okay, awesome. Flex for the camera. Show us those gains, baby.
They don't really show through this shirt. I'd have to take it all off. I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that.
So I think we both kind of share a love for food. I know you remember, but I feel like family dinners were pretty prevalent in our childhood.
Yeah.
Like even weeknights, mom always had dinner on the table. Takeout wasn't available where we grew up, and I think also like was not a realistic option for a family of 4.
Yeah. I think a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. And of course, like all the family dinners with Grandma Lucille and Grandma Sue. Where do you think, like, we both have a love for food and for cooking. What do you think that evolved from?
I think it was, like you said, like family really, everybody seemed to cook, and like being at Grandma's house, we just saw them always in the kitchen, and just big family get-togethers, had a lot of meals prepared, and just being around that environment, I think kind of I think it just naturally evolved into us cooking at home. And seeing the foods that we ate and just kind of evolving into more whole, unprocessed foods got us both into kind of seeing what we're putting in our bodies. I saw you cooking a lot and would always come over, And I think that naturally sparked inside of me a desire to cook more. Like I always think about where it came from, and it started with you, and then I think also just kind of subconsciously with family.
Yeah. I don't know if you're the same way, but I think you are, like very type A, very logical, need steps to follow. Like I don't really see myself as a super creative person. Like if you put a piece of paper in front of me and told me to draw something, it would not be super creative, but I do think that food allows like a creative outlet because there are kind of like rules that you have to stay inside of to an extent.
Yeah. That's why I don't bake. Well, but it's also like I am like what you said, but breakfast is, I think, maybe one of the things that I'm good at because it's just so many random things just to throw into a cooking pot and put something together. Yeah. And then when it comes to like dinners and dishes, yes, I'm very much follow ingredients step by step. Yeah. And then after I've had it, I tweak them.
100%.
But when a first go, it is very much.
I think it was like, I mean, I'm sure it's something I saw on the internet, but you do a baking sheet, parchment paper, bacon, parchment paper thing on top. It keeps it like flat, gets it really crispy, and it keeps it from like splattering all over your oven. So yes, tell me how we got to adding sauerkraut to our breakfast.
So adding sauerkraut has a lot of good probiotics in it. So really just setting up your stomach at the beginning of the day, if that's when it's added, to just digest food a little bit easier than something if you were to just, let's say you ate a protein bar to start the day, or raw nuts. It's really probably not an easy thing to start your day digesting something like that. Yeah. So if we go something like dark green, add a little probiotics, really kind of just loosen things up to like get it moving.
Oh yeah.
And that way come 10 a.m., everything flushes out and then you're in good shape.
And so one thing we've been talking about that is maybe like a little more fulfilling aside from just like our day-to-day life is starting a supper club. And really you kind of came to me with that idea. So what stemmed that idea in like, where do you want to see that go?
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought that up first, honestly. And then I made a comment about a community kitchen.
Yes.
Where basically we get closer to our food. So if you go into the grocery store, it's very much, it's become very heavily processed, boxed foods, a lot of frozen dinners, a lot of frozen foods, prepped meals already. And if you really look at those foods, the ingredients in them are pretty, if you can't pronounce, I mean, they're hard to pronounce. Yeah. And so if they're hard to pronounce and they're just not whole foods, it makes it difficult to say to somebody that doesn't know what that is it good for me or not? Yeah. And so when we just go back to the basics and stay on the outside of the grocery store and just do vegetables as much as we can, dairy, and a lot of fresh food, that's a kind of a really good starting point if you're unsure if what you're seeing in the frozen meals can be prepared by you and not by somebody else. In terms of the supper club, we live in Lockhart now, and everybody, well, from my vantage point, seems to be pretty conscious of wanting to grow gardens, be a little bit closer to the source of where they're getting things. And there's a strong community energy here. Yeah. And having people be able to come together and share recipes, share ideas, seems like this great step of having a community kitchen where we can share those ideas and people can bring food from their gardens and give insight into what made their garden successful. Yeah. What did they struggle with? What grew well, what didn't grow well? Yeah. And build a place where that exists. Yeah.
And I also feel like sharing meals is like a way that you and I both show like caretaking or like love to other people. Yes. And I think one cool thing that we've talked about with the supper club is really just sharing meals with people that we are like loosely connected with in the community that we might not get to sit down and have more intimate conversations with.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, actually just this week, a couple of nights ago, I hosted a group of guys that came over, and really the premise of it was just to have guys get together and sit down and just be able to have that space for each other, because I'm not used to it, but it's something that I've desired, to have just men in a house that can sit down at a table without their significant others and just be together. And so that was really rewarding. And I cooked for all of them, and just got to experience kind of a supper club, a small version of it, or a fraction. And I don't know that I have any kind of vision for it being this massive thing, but yes, small intimate people, or however many it's supposed to be, and just let it evolve. But having that space with you would be incredible, because I do love hearing people appreciate food, and kind of them to inquire about, well, why does this taste so fresh? You know, why does it taste so good? And be able to explain that it didn't just come from a box or a package or something frozen. It was fresh, and it was put together with love. And
well, and I think love is like such a cliche thing to say, and it is also so true. Like if you have a meal that somebody just put together, like followed step by step, didn't taste along the way, make adjustments, like really pour themselves into it, you can taste it.
All of your food shows up like that. And that's why I, in a lot of ways, started to enjoy cooking. And not just because you would put so many dishes out that have always been magnificent. And you may not always feel that way, but
hence the rinsing of the salty onions.
It's something that I've always admired about you, and to always find a place with your busy life to still sit down and cook a meal versus just throwing something that's frozen together. I've admired that, because I've typically lived by myself, and not relied on somebody else to cook for me. And it's just something that I've naturally grown into.
Well, I think it's really easy to get into the habit of like, I don't have time, I'm just gonna stop and grab stuff.
I still do that.
100%.
But I try to avoid it at all costs.
Or avoid it as much as possible.
As much as possible.
I think the kids showing up also like reignited that spark, because they were so used to getting food. I cannot tell you, every time, like, I want Whataburger, I want Dairy Queen. It's like, no, we're not gonna eat like that.
And I think in today's society where everything feels like it's going a million miles an hour, especially in the big city, that's a problem. And I think it's something that we're slowly starting to unravel and figure out that it is causing issues. And I think that's only going to grow, and hopefully that sparks change within family households.
Well, and I know we've had conversations too where people will comment on the food that we buy or use as being too expensive or not accessible to everyone, which I don't know enough on that to speak if that is true. I do think like there is some cost savings to these processed foods, which I'm not saying I agree with it or anything like that. Your argument or whatever to that was, well, how expensive is the medication you have to put in your body to like fight all of these diseases that are caused by what you're eating? Which is a really interesting perspective. And I do think it is priorities, right? Like you have to prioritize food. Groceries are not a negotiable within our budget. Like within my family budget, and I know your family budget, groceries are not negotiable. Like that is what we are fueling our body with.
Yes. I would rather sacrifice however much money it costs, not that there's not a limit, but for clean ingredients than eating out every night. Because eating out every night, especially if you have a family, gets very costly very quickly. And not to say that because I'm eating cleanly, I'm not gonna have disease or something come up in my life, but I would like to at least, if I can control what I can control, which is what I put in my body, to do that. And so to spend $3 extra on a pound of ground beef that's pasture raised, grass fed, versus something that's just at the supermarket that's ultra highly processed, I will take that risk of spending $3 more today than the potential side effects 30 years down the road, whatever that health bill might be, if in some way you could link it to a lack of
Nutrition.
Yes.
Let's check on this bacon. We might want to turn those greens back on. I turned them off so they wouldn't get like soggy. She good. Bacon gets a bad rap. So how do you fit bacon into your diet in like a healthy way?
I would agree with you. I don't think bacon is probably the best food option, regardless of where you get it from, to put in your body. So I personally love the taste of bacon, but I limit my amount that I typically cook. And so I don't cook with bacon often. I will typically substitute ground beef or chicken or turkey for bacon.
Yeah.
I generally buy bacon that's pasture raised from a local farmer in Austin, Bellevue Kitchen.
Their bacon is my favorite.
It's incredible.
The kids hate it. They think it's too, they don't know what they're trying to say, but what they're saying is it's too smoky, but I think it's delicious.
Oh, I get that. I understand that it's smoky.
Is this egg delivery? Yay. Hi. No. Do you want to pop on camera as my egg delivery man?
No.
Okay. Oh, you're already on camera.
Here I am.
Look at these
Delivery.
beautiful eggs.
Fresh eggs.
Can you see those?
Oh, yeah.
From Sweet Caleb. Oh, did you?
Valley Farms.
Aww.
Beautiful.
Did you just come up with that, or is that really?
No, we've been kicking around the idea.
I love it.
Great.
So I think it's time to cook these eggs.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do it.
How do you want to do it? Do you want to poach them? Do you want to like soft?
I have like 2 ways of cooking eggs, which is just like sunny side up and scrambled.
Okay.
And I very rarely switch from that. But if you want to poach eggs, I would be down to, you could teach me how to poach eggs.
Oh God, do you want to try? I will say I'm okay at it.
Isn't it like half, is it through 3/4 water, 1/4 vinegar, or is it half and half?
I think you do like a couple tablespoons of vinegar.
Oh, okay.
Like just a little. Okay. Yep. So we are gonna crank this bad boy up, and you and I are gonna decide how much vinegar should go in this. So, ready, set. More?
You know how to poach an egg, apparently.
I don't. I've done it before, and it is, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit of a struggle.
Why do you think the vinegar is needed? To keep them afloat?
I think it keeps the whites intact.
Okay.
When I think there's some sort of like reaction with the vinegar that helps keep the whites intact. You want a blue egg?
Sure. This came from
Kern Valley Farms.
Kern Valley Farms.
Did you just crack one?
Which chicken was this from?
Kelbell.
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 Wow. Well, Kelbell, thank you for your
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Okay, so I am stirring said water. We're gonna get it going. Ooh, it smells like vinegar. Do you think that's bad?
No, I think that's good. I've never poached an egg, so I am going to just assume everything is
It's
being
working.
done perfectly.
Look at that. She's going. Oh, she looks good.
Ooh.
Like Speedy Gonzalez fast. Oh wow, that's really fast.
And just drop it in
Yeah, and then you just kind of like dump it in the middle.
while I'm spinning it.
Stop spinning. Yeah, you take the spoon out slow, slow. There you go.
Well,
Oh,
that one's
wow.
not gonna work.
Oh, it might. She's a little confused, but she could get there.
Ooh, she's wrapping.
Look at her. See, that works. How we're gonna plate this up. Specifically, show me what you wanna do here.
Okay, so typically bed it with collard greens.
Okay.
And then we will chop up the bacon a little bit.
Okay.
And then sprinkle, let's do collard greens, eggs, onions, bacon.
Okay. The crispiest piece. Are you gonna try sauerkraut on yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Bacon?
A little bit of sauerkraut?
Yeah. definitely
Okay.
Put it on there.
You like? Okay.
We'll use the center. Oh yeah, we can
This
use all
one?
three. Yeah.
That one's really pretty. That one's really pretty too.
Throw some sauerkraut in there.
How much? Like this much more?
Yeah, that's good.
I'll put it on the side in case you get pissy. I feel like this is
Holy shit.
one of my favorite things. Kind of what you were talking about with Supper Club, like helping people see that food you might not normally eat are like actually really delicious.
Yeah.
This is the second time I've handed Ramon something and he's kind of, actually I would say third. First time you're like, I don't like soup, but you liked that
That was
soup.
good. Yeah.
It wasn't something like
I
you would,
guess my reservations are like, is that gonna be filled?
Yeah.
Am I gonna be filled at the end of this meal, or am I gonna be like scrounging for Taco Bell?
Yeah. Well, yes. And your argument is valid. This is why, like in the morning, this is a great start, and then lunch we can kind of start up in the ante a little bit in
Yeah.
terms of like filling up.
or like a mid-morning, like maybe you have a mid-morning snack.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yes.
the trick is you have to simmer them for, I mean, they aren't like a quick cooking thing, which is why we did them first.
Yeah.
You got to simmer them for like a solid 45 minutes. No, just do it.
Yeah.
But I do think they're so good and they're so filling.
But on collard greens, I think a good idea is if you want them the next morning to remove some of the time it takes because it's 45 minutes, stem them the night before.
Okay.
Maybe like pre-cook them a little bit, like 20 minutes, and then pop them in and finish them off in the morning.
But dice your onions if you want to prep it. Dice your onions, put those in first, and then put your garlic on top of that. Don't put the onion and garlic together. That's how I do it. And then collard greens, you put them in and then let them kind of just wilt down, and then you turn it to low. You add your broth when you first put your collard greens or after? You don't do broth.
I do.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank
been
you for
super
having me.
fun.
Yeah.
You know I love you. You're like my favorite person in the whole world. So this was a good one. Thank you. Oh, what am I supposed to say again?
Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.